over a decade, Denis Law, George Best and Bobby Charlton played football that was truly beautiful. First of the trio to join the club in 1953 was Geordie-born Charlton, the 15-year-old son of a Northumberland miner and the nephew of the great Newcastle centre-forward Jackie Milburn.
I was playing for East Northumberland boys against Jarrow and Hebburn in Durham on a really cold, frosty January morning, and my mum and my dad were there, and they came up and they said there's a little man from Manchester United, he's a scout at Manchester United, called Mr. Armstrong, would like you to go and play for United in the summer if you want. This was after the game. And of course I'd just been picked for Northumberland boys, and I think I was picked then for the England schoolboy trial, so I was starting to think that maybe I would be a professional player. And when somebody asked me to go, whoever was going to be first I think was in with a real shout. And I said, "Yo, that'd be great," you know, because I was aware that Manchester United had a really good coaching policy, and they'd won the FA Youth Cup the first few years in its existence. So, and I wanted to be a footballer as quick as I could, and Joe Armstrong was the first. Actually, when I signed at 15, I didn't immediately go and play with footballers, train with footballers down at Old Trafford all the time, because you couldn't sign professional till you were 17, and unless you actually worked on the ground staff, you had to go and get a job. And my parents thought it wouldn't be right for me cleaning, because the image that people had of schoolboys who signed for professional clubs working on ground staff was they did the toilets and all that sort of thing. And of course other people were saying, you better get yourself a trade just in case you break your leg. And I was always aware of that, although I never thought it would happen. So a lot of lads went into apprenticeships in the industry, and I went as an apprentice electrical engineer in Altrincham, and I worked there for a year, but I knew that as soon as I was 17 I was going to sign professional. But it was good. That it gives you a set of values, working on piecework, £2 a week, and which is a lot of money then.
Can you do any electrical engineering now?
No.
5 days before his 19th birthday, Charlton made his debut in a team christened the Babes and scored twice.
I'd done my right ankle. I'd done the ligaments in my right ankle, and all swelled up just about the time when I looked as though I might get in the first team. And 3 weeks I had treatment on it, and it was swollen, but I was starting to do a bit of training anyway. And Sir Matt came to me, and one Friday morning, and he just said, "How's your ankle?" And I went, "Oh, that's great." You know? I said, "It's fine, my ankle." I said, "It's all right, boss, you know."
Charlton scored 10 goals in 14 games as United won a second successive championship. And this FA Cup semi-final goal helped take them to Wembley, where hopes of the double ended when Aston Villa's Peter McParland flattened Ray Wood, and with a stand-in keeper, United lost 2-1. They also lost a European Cup semi-final. Wilf McGuinness was another player emerging with Charlton from a rich crop of United youngsters who'd won the inaugural FA Youth Cup 5 years in succession.
Well, we first met in 1953 when I was his captain for England schoolboys. We then went to Manchester United on the same day in June 1953. I was his captain for the England youth team and also for Manchester United youth team.
What sort of player could you see, even at that stage, that Bobby was going to become?
Well, even then you could see the grace and style that he had. He was, the talent was there, and the smoothness. It was like, to me, always like a thoroughbred, like a racehorse. He moved so majestically at times.
By next season, Charlton had become established in a United team, third in the table, and through to a second European Cup semi-final, when on February the 6th, 1958, the club was plunged into darkness.
Here is the news. So far, we know there are 23 survivors after Manchester United's air crash at Munich this afternoon. Of the crew of 6 and 38 passengers on board, including a baby, these are the people so far known to have survived. Of the Manchester United party, Matt Busby, manager, and the following players: Gregg, Wood, Folkes, J. Blanchflower, Morgans, Berry, Charlton, Violet, and Scanlon.
Well, and here is Bobby Charlton, the inside forward in the outside bed. Bobby, you, as Ken Morgans, are the lucky two,
Yes,
already
yes.
in dressing gowns and up a little. Can I take it to mean that you'll be going home soon?
I'm hoping to leave the hospital tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
They've told me so anyway. They've put it off a couple of times, but I think it's fairly certain tomorrow.
Well, you certainly look very fit indeed. Have the doctors told you that you might be playing again Wednesday week?
No, I don't know. I don't know so much.
Well, I don't think they'll let you know. You'll have to have a little bit of patience.
It depends when I get home. It depends what I feel like when I get back home, you know.
Now, have you in your own mind any doubt at all about Manchester United's ability to become a great team once again?
No. I think we've got the present nucleus for rebuilding, but it'll take time. And so, furthermore, in rebuilding, of course, we've got to get the background to come on again, the youth to come on again. That might take a lot of sorting out.
And next, the cameras go out to the Cliff training ground. And here we meet the new Manchester United, the youngest of the Busby Babes, the reserve men whom fate has suddenly made first-team men.
Well, some of the players we do know already. There's Freddie Goodwin, tall wing half-back. Number 5 he's wearing, the white apron. He's been in the first team a lot. And then if we could move to number 10, Mark Pearson just moving for the ball with Goodwin now. He's a youth international, number 10 in the dark apron. Mark Pearson, an inside forward. He's got a very great future. And just a bit to the right in the white apron, number 8, I can see Colin Webster, who's the Welsh international. He's played many times for the first team and, of course, for Wales. And going to take a goal kick now is someone whose identity once flummoxed me, David Gaskell, the young Manchester United goalkeeper, who's a schoolboy international, a youth international, and played in a Charity Shield match for the first team. There's Alec Dawson with the ball now. Alec Dawson, the big burly inside forward, number 4 in the dark vest, just turning round. He's been in the first team.
United's youth policy had produced the original Babes, and now it was kids like Nobby Stiles who would represent the future, and Shea Brennan. A wave of emotion helped carry United's patched-up team back to the FA Cup final. But there was no fairy tale victory for the reserves and juniors and 4 crash survivors. Charlton's shot against a post, the closest to a goal against Bolton, who already led 1-0 when their powerful England centre-forward Nat Lofthouse barged Harry Gregg into the net for goal number 2. Charlton himself was also now an England player.
I scored a lot of important goals, and of course, I suppose there's a lot of sympathy with Manchester United, and I was pushed probably into the England team. Well, it's a lot. I would never have got in.
Douglas to Charlton. A great goal by Charlton. Oh, that's a typical Bobby Charlton goal. Hitchens. And Charlton.
Haynes, I think, has managed to get away from Blanchard on many an occasion. And Gregg coming out there. Charlton knocks it in the net, yes!
And up goes Douglas, and there's Douglas. And a lovely goal by Charlton. Now Finney once again, in now to Haynes. Charlton calling for it, comes to him. And a great goal by Charlton. That's a typical Bobby Charlton goal. England have switched their forward line. At the moment it looks as if Finney's outside right, Charlton's outside left. Now Haynes to Charlton. Is this great man Charlton? Is this great?
Charlton's golden river of England goals would one day be matched for Scotland by a bespectacled and gawky kid called Denis Law.
No, I was only a frail boy apparently. I was, I think, about 7.5 stone. And I wasn't born with a squint, but I got a squint in my eye when I was only 5 years of age, and I had that until I was 15. I went down to Huddersfield, so I wore glasses from the age of 5 until 15. And when I went down to Huddersfield, within about 2 weeks, 3 weeks going down there, I got a call to come back to Aberdeen and have the operation done, which I came back, and with having a squint more or less all my life, you know, from 5 to 15, and then when I went in and had the operation, and I was always bandaged up, and when they took the bandages off, and for the first time in my life, my eye was straight as a die. That was the biggest change, I think, in my life, because every you know, it was like you were always called cockeyed, and even when I played football, I used to take my glasses off. I used to close my eye because I was very self-conscious of people seeing my eye in the corner. So that day, then they took it off, and I got my eye straight in the middle. That was, confidence, you know, was abounding.
Bill Shankly was one of the earliest influences when Denis Law began his football career with 2nd Division Huddersfield.
I had 5 years of Shanks, and again, the operation changed but he changed my life as well, because this guy was just football, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. He's football, and you could see that I was quite small, and he used to, the little cafe on the corner at Huddersfield, he used to send me over there, you know, unknown to the other lads, and she used to give me a steak, you know. I never had a steak in my life. Steak, and he sort of built me up, plenty of milk, and within a very short time after that, of course, I got into the reserves. I was only 15, and then one Christmas I was selected to play for the first team at 16 years of age.
He was only a skinny little whippet of a boy, you know, and when you looked at him you thought, blimey, what is he? How can he play? Well, after you had seen him playing, John, at 15 years of age, then you realised that here was something unusual.
Well, Shanks left to go to Liverpool, didn't he? And I would have followed Shanks. But again, Liverpool were in the 2nd Division. And I'd had a few years in the 2nd, and I wanted to see what I could do higher up. I'd tasted in the international scene with the players, you know, like Mackay was at Spurs and things like that I wanted to play in 1st Division. Now, Busby would have bought me, he says, after, but he had that time, even after Munich. There was Dennis Violet, there was Bobby Charlton, I think he got David Hurd, Alec Dawson. You know, he had quite a good forward line, and he didn't really need anybody else. So I landed going to the other team, Manchester City, and that's when I fell in love with Manchester.
Law's debut for City was in March 1960.
Here come Manchester City, unfamiliar strip of old gold and black, and there's number 8. The man we've all come to see, all 35,000 of us, Denis Law, that slight figure with the fair hair. Number 8 on his back. £53,000 worth, or 22 guineas an ounce, if you like. Tiny autographs in the middle of the pitch. Leads to kick off. Taking the goal to our left. Bobby Charlton, a high ball up in the City penalty box. Go out. Sear. Well, wild header, not evenly wild. Clearance by Trout, went into touch. So far we haven't seen very much of Law, not been very much in the game at all, but here he is on left wing now, wandering a bit to escape the attentions of Goodwin. Leeds coming back. Peyton, the shot, very tame. Troutman, an easy clearance. Ken Barnes, starting a City attack. Inside to Law. This is what we've paid to see. This great ball player, Law. Is he worth £53,000? Inside to Barnes. Back again to Law. Dangerous City attack mounting up now. Hayes, Law running through very intelligently, waiting for the reverse pass. There it is. A wonderful right foot shot, and it's 2 goals all. City's equaliser. Wonderful shot indeed. 50,000 quid worth of it. 20 minutes gone in the second half. City attacking down the right. Barlow. Law hanging about on the edge of the penalty box. There he is, coming through. A beautiful ball through to Barlow. Barlow bursting through, and it's City's 3rd goal. Leeds United 2, Manchester City 3. Well, another wonderful run by Law. A beautiful pass. There he is. Final score, Leeds 4, City 3. But Law can be very pleased with himself indeed. He had a wonderful debut, scored 1 goal and made another. He must be feeling very happy, so must manager Les McDowell. It must all go well for the future of his club.
Law had become the youngest player this century capped by Scotland at the age of 18, and in 1961 appeared in a Football League side playing the Italian League in Milan.
McElroy and there's Robson there. It's Robson going to step over it. And it's Woosnam, a great save, but Law's going to score, yes.
The Law instinct for goal immediately caught the Italian eye, and within 3 months he'd been signed by Torino, along with the Hibs player Joe Baker. But like Jimmy Greaves at AC Milan, Law found that the lure of the lira was a mirage disguising defence-dominated Italian attitudes.
Again, the people were lovely. Fanatical supporters of football, because hey, there's nothing else to do over there anyway. There's 2 sports in Italy, still today, cycling and football. Once you've seen one cycle race, you've seen them all. And it was the same then. But when I went in there in the early 60s, it was very defensive. I mean, very defensive.